Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great privilege and a pleasure to be part of this review panel. And let me cite a personal reason for this, because you have just heard David Holloway, with whom my association goes back to almost 2.5 decades. When I visited Stanford in 1984, and David Holloway was a professor, young professor, at that particular point in time. So I'm particularly pleased to welcome David Holloway to Pakistan, along with the team of NISP era and many scholars who are present here. And I should also mention one of the difficulties that I have in commenting on Rabia's book. And the difficulty is more personal than intellectual. It is personal in the sense that Rabia was my student. And I have seen her blossom into not only a fine scholar, but also a teacher, and now researcher who has just authored a wonderful book. So if I praise her book too much, I can easily be accused of being subjective. And if I am too critical of her work, then people will blame it on me because we failed to teach her well. But I am going to do neither of those things and present to you, or before you, a written version of the book review that I just finished writing last night after having read the book. So please bear with me, because I'm not going to talk about personal episodes or give you an anecdotal history of a lot of knowledge, personal knowledge that I have, particularly vis-a-vis the proliferation issue at the time when military administration was in power, and I was working along with Ambassador Naqvi at the Pakistan Embassy from 1994 to 97. So, both as a dominant global power and as a leader of the Western world, the United States has been among the leading advocates of the policy of global nuclear non-proliferation. Washington has used war, threats of war, coercion, economic sanctions, regime changes, extended deterrence, and multilateral statecraft as instruments to contain the threat of horizontal nuclear proliferation. As a result of this sustained US-led effort, only 3 states, India, Pakistan, and Israel, remain outside the framework of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, known by its abbreviation NPT, signed in 1968. While the rest of the world has collectively forsworn its right to own nuclear weapons by joining the NPT as non-nuclear weapon signatories. We have a potential problem with North Korea and Iran, which are trying to question the legitimacy of the NPT, but they remain till such time they are totally break out of NPT. They are part of the NPT, though as a problem states. NPT grants the legal right to own nuclear weapons to only those states that acquired nuclear weapons before 1967. And these states happen to be veto-wielding 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council. The book by Dr. Rabia Akhtar examines the conduct of non-proliferation, US non-proliferation policy towards Pakistan under 5 successive US administrations from Ford, Carter, Reagan, Clinton, Bush, and concludes that, quote, US failure to prevent Pakistan from achieving and testing its nuclear weapons capability was not a policy failure per se, but an enforcement failure where all five administrations tried to establish an imperfect quid pro quo with Pakistan, pushing the latter to choose between aid and the bomb. And this quote was also mentioned by President Rabia. By shifting non-proliferation goalposts and prioritizing foreign policy over non-proliferation policy, Washington created dilemmas for itself that resulted in its ultimate failure to, quote, influence proliferation behavior of a state, that is Pakistan, with determined nuclear ambition. Rabia's lucid account of the failure of the US non-proliferation policy to rein in Pakistan nuclear ambitions is significant for several reasons. First, it relies heavily on primary sources, including declassified documents from each of the presidential archives and declassified government documents that have become available through the Digital National Security Archives and the National Security Archives based at the George Washington University, Washington, D.C., to shed light on the reasons for which the US was unable to prevent Islamabad's acquisition of nuclear weapons. Second, it is the first detailed account of US non-proliferation policy towards Pakistan over 3 decades, covering policies of 5 administrations. Third, it looks at Pakistan-US alliance as a two-way street, as a synergetic relationship where both countries use the leverage they had towards each other to best serve their national interests. According to Rabia, in this process of bilateral bargaining, both countries used each other to get what they wanted. Pakistan more adeptly than the United States. She convincingly argues that Pakistan achieved more than it had bargained for. It not only modernized its conventional military capability through US military assistance, but also developed a threshold nuclear weapons capability at the height of its engagement with the United States in the final decade of the Cold War. It was made possible due to minimal interference from the 5 US administrations. This somewhat new information regarding US tolerant or permissive attitude towards Pakistan's pursuit of nuclear weapons runs counter to Pakistani popular narrative, which characterizes Washington as an implacable foe of Islamabad's quest for nuclear weapons. Rabia uses this information to call for a reset with respect to the objectives and successes of US non-proliferation policies towards Pakistan. Fourth, Rabia's superb account of fraud and failed US practice of non-proliferation policies towards Pakistan, however, leads her to conclude that the prevalent narrative of betrayal has 2 sides to it, and if both Islamabad and Washington recognize this bitter truth, they can avoid a complete rupture of their ties. Rabia points out 3 broad inconsistency of US non-proliferation policy with respect to Pakistan. First, the US has repeatedly practiced double standards on non-proliferation in South Asia by punishing Pakistan and India differently for the same offense. Second, Pakistan's effort to acquire civilian nuclear technology to meet its legitimate energy needs have been thwarted since the early 70s, whereas India was rewarded for its proliferation behavior by several US administrations. Rabia cites Indo-US nuclear deal and US support for Indian membership in SG as prime examples of this obstructionist US stance towards Pakistan. She further notes that US support for India is galling to Islamabad as New Delhi has a poor record of export control regime and the safety and security of its nuclear installations. Third, Washington's decision to bring Pakistan under US sanctions after its major geopolitical goal of withdrawal of Soviet forces was achieved. Rabia's riveting account of US non-proliferation policy towards Pakistan reveals a peculiar pattern. That's not my phrase, that's hers. Marked by a paradox, namely that although the non-proliferation by each administration were designed to create an imbalance in favor of Pakistan not going nuclear, yet ended up achieving just the opposite. Rabia explains this paradoxical situation by pointing out to tensions between Congress and the executive branches of the US government. He writes, it's a long quote, but it's worth mentioning this quote. Within each administration, the Congress exhibited its apprehensions about Pakistan's nuclear proliferation, yet we see that it preferred giving aid to Pakistan with non-proliferation conditions attached. The executive, on the other hand, valued the security relationship with Pakistan and preferred giving aid with little to no non-proliferation conditions attached. And also, David Holloway has mentioned the role of the waivers. The waivers, cleverly enshrined in the US non-proliferation legislation, enabled the executive to turn a blind eye to Pakistan's nuclear ambitions and development. Pakistan benefited from the disconnect that resulted from this fortuitous good cop, bad cop routine played by the Congress and the executive. She notes the theft, the lies, the deception, the duplicity and manipulation that Pakistan is faulted for by the West, all of it was Machiavellian, essentially needed to achieve Pakistan's national security. Rabia has written a magnificent history of US non-proliferation efforts towards Pakistan that should be read by everybody interested in proliferation issues. I would also take this opportunity to congratulate the University of Lahore Press for publishing an elegant book that tells the remarkable story of Pakistan's rise as a nuclear weapons state in the face of intense but varying degrees of American legislative operation. Thank you so much.